welcome to Men's Talk. I'm Saf and Joss on my right and Dazza on my left. Welcome. And today we're going to talk about relationships and what relationships mean to us and why is it important to have good, healthy relationships. I want to start with you, Joss, if I may. Firstly, what does relationships mean to you and why is it important to have good, healthy relationships?
Relationships to me mean community, love, guidance, and safe spaces. And I believe the best relationship you're ever going to have in life is the relationship with yourself.
I like that.
And the most important.
So why is it important to have a good relationship with yourself?
Because if I can't have a good relationship with me, nothing I'm going to do with anyone else is going to work. It might look good and feel good, but it's not going to last longer than a piece of string, so to speak. And I need to pour into myself before I can pour into you.
Is that aligned with having self-worth as well?
Self-love, not self-worth.
Okay, self-love.
Self-love, because like our best teachers of love are the lessons we learn and take on and take heed to. And then I then learn how to love you from learning you as a friend, family member, partner. And then that language of love that you've taught me is what I interpret with you. And then I meet you there. And I have to meet myself there and able to meet you there. Or I can't be present with you. I can't hold space with you. And then to create safe spaces with people as well, I need to be able to create a safe space with myself. Not everybody believes in this stuff or would agree, but what I've learned in life and what I've been taught and what I've been around and cultivated has enabled me to have strong bonds with these children that I work with and these families, and enabled me to always be myself. So my relationships with others work for me being myself, and they're either going to work or not. But if I'm being myself, I'm not at loss. And if you're being yourself and you're not, and it doesn't work, you're not at loss. We're just going to have to just part ways. So whether we're family members and we're not getting on, we're going to just part ways peacefully.
So it does the relationship with yourself, relationships with the community. What else can you have a relationship with?
Well, I like the way that you actually put it, that it's that safe space.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it mentioned like that. I normally call it like a bubble.
Yeah.
And I suppose that bubble is that safe space. And I think if you have too many safe spaces, too many bubbles, you spread yourself thin. So I don't have a great deal of friends. I have associates. With being in the forces, you have associates. But close friends, I've possibly got 1, 2. Okay, I've got... Where's the love?
We're the two.
And then you've got family members, but one of the things what you said about family is if you go your different ways, you can't choose your family. That's the thing. And are you seeing that you've got to get on with family? Or are you... No, but this is the thing. Everyone sees that you're a family bond. You've got some bond with your brother, your sister, all of this. You should be. I mean, I've had arguments in the past with my brother, which has nearly come to blows. Now he lives in Abu Dhabi, I live in Kent, but now we've come together and we've got a better relationship now than what we more than likely have had in the last 20 years.
Yeah. So the distance has actually made your relationship stronger?
No, I think he joined the RAF as a fireman 4 years before me, and I joined after. So we had a fireman within our family since 1959 to 2008. So it was a family trade. So when I needed something, I'd go to my brother or my father because they were in, or my cousin who was a fireman as well. So I had strong relationships with them because of the knowledge what they had about something. But yeah, the way you do it, the safe space, the bubbles, I think that's a good way of actually putting it.
I think for me to have a healthy relationship is not to live up to someone else's values. And I'll tell you why, in my case. If we are obliged to live up to, for example, our partner's values, we're not going to be fulfilled, we're going to be resentful, we're going to be angry, we're going to be sad. That's not the key for a healthy relationship. Yeah. We all have our own values, we all have our own priority of values. Yeah, we shouldn't expect anyone to live to our values, and we shouldn't have to be living to anyone else's values. We should live and come from love, from the heart, and come as an equilibrium.
And learn to just be. And learn to just be, and just hold space with you.
Yeah.
Because if I come as I come, myself, and you come as yourself, we either can just be present with each other and hold a safe space and just be present and cultivate, or we can't. It actually is black and white, but humans, we're flawed individuals, all of us, and we complicate stuff. And it isn't that complicated, but we complicate stuff.
It's
But I'm
living a
not
life
sure-
of equilibrium,
I'm not
living
sure-
a life of balance.
You two are married men, deeply in love, and you've now probably realised it isn't as complicated as people might assume it to be. Because you love your wife, your wife loves you, she loves you for what she loves you for, you love her what you love her for, and it's worked.
I wouldn't say it's not
No,
complicated.
actually, as in, you've had complications, but you come to a stage.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You've come to a stage where it's plain sailing, and you just be, and you speak up, and you be.
But
vocal.
then is that a time where you get comfortable within the relationship and then you take each other for granted? Sometimes that happens. So you've got to have a compromise. It's a little bit give and take.
Yeah.
As an example, and I'm sure
I
Mel...
like that. So it's give and take.
Yeah, yeah.
Relationships having about give and take. I know you disagree with the what you're saying.
An example, and I'm sure that Mel, my wife, will kill me with this, is that we were looking at a new colour for the living room. Now, I like it. I'm quite a bland person. Same colour as where we are now. And she wanted this colour, and I thought it was too dark. And I kept on making a joke of it being too dark. And she was like, yeah, but this is what I like. And I was trying to make a joke. Instead of being very honest and going, I hate this colour, okay? But she picked up on that I didn't like it. So I went to work at the hospital one day, came back, I had a picture on my phone, and it was of a different colour. And the thing what she said was, I was listening to you and I've had to compromise. And she was willing to compromise, but I didn't know how to go, I hate this colour.
But if you have a healthy relationship, surely we should be able to be honest. Surely honesty is a massive part of having a healthy, not just with your partner, but with any. I know you don't want to upset their feelings, and I know
Well,
where
that's
you're
me,
coming-
yeah. No, but honesty, sometimes it's one of those things that being conservative with the honesty is something where it breeds for a better relationship. Because how many times has your wife come down and went, how do I look? And you don't like what they're wearing, but you turned around and went, yeah, you look amazing.
Well, never, Dazza. I don't know what you're talking about. Josh, honesty the best policy?
Yes, and transparency. And
Transparency is different.
And transparency and honesty go hand in hand, and cultivating an environment where nothing that's said is aimed at your character. It's just an honest opinion that you wanted from me. And then you kind of work out, did you really want the opinion? But as humans, we kind of want to hear other people's thoughts and kind of want to satisfy your thoughts and your needs to an extent. Hence why if you say you like it, it makes me feel good. And then I feel good because you like it. So like,
Is it a case of if you don't like it, lump it? Is that what it's about?
no, like for
Or
me,
should there be compromising?
Well,
Should
it's
there
got to be.
like for me personally, if I like it, that's all that matters.
What about if your partner or whoever relationship we're talking doesn't like it? It doesn't matter to you?
It's understanding why they don't like it.
No, because okay, if I want to wear green trousers, okay, let's make it simple. I'm wearing green trousers today. You might not like the green trousers, but I'm comfortable in these green trousers. These make me happy.
Which is go back to like, don't live up to someone else's values.
Yeah, and I think in relationships and situations with friends and partners and family, we tend to move goalposts, but then put ourselves secondly. And if you really, really loved me, you really, really cared about me, you would want me to put myself first and stand up and say, you know what, I'm wearing this, is what I want to wear.
But can I not have an opinion about something? I can.
No one's saying you can't have an opinion, but hear what I'm saying. When, like, if you really cared for me to the extent you did, what I want for myself would no longer bother you, because I want this for myself bothers you because you don't like it.
I think, but the thing with that is that what men tend to do is make a joke of it. That if you were wearing the green trousers, it'd be, oh, what are you wearing green trousers for?
Yeah.
Where you joke about it and you have a bit of a laugh about it, but deep down inside, it's like, oh, I hate them trousers. But I'm going to make a joke of it, and hopefully it's a light situation where you can actually bounce off each other.
Wait a minute. So you've been making jokes about my suit. Is there something you want to tell me?
Yeah.
But then even
It
in
doesn't
saying
go with
that,
your skin colour.
even in saying that, it's also a you problem, not a me problem, that you don't like this. If we just want to be honest, and as men, we're trying to be honest and be true to everything that we stand for, authentic with everyone around us, it doesn't make you comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm not here to make you comfortable, Saf. I'm not.
Yeah.
In those extents where if I'm doing stuff to make you uncomfortable, then tell me I can fix it. But for the stuff that it's because, okay, my haircut is too low, it's too fadey. Not even a word, sorry. But like you don't like it because too faded, sorry. You don't like it because of the way it sits. That's a you problem, sir. You've got to deal with that.
Yeah.
My trousers are too green today. That's a dad's problem. Deal with that, sir. And I'm not being rude, but I'm not taking them off, but I'm not changing them.
But then a minute ago we said it's good to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm being. Yeah, no one's saying don't be honest. I respect it, but I'm not changing them.
Yeah.
But I love you for your honesty.
Yeah.
We're still going out to eat.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, it's not like I would probably respect you even more and grow to love you even more as a friend because you're always honest with me. You always say how you feel.
Yeah, because not everyone's going to like what everyone else is doing or wearing or saying. That's just life.
That's life, yeah.
You just got to move on from that.
I think one of the biggest lessons what I learned was when we climbed Kilimanjaro last year, my wife came along with us and I learned a lot about my wife and how stubborn she is and how much she wanted me to succeed and how much she wanted to do it. But I also done it with my best friend, Marco. Marco I've known for 24 years and he can phone me up and he can call me whatever name he wants. We have arguments, heated arguments, but it's friendly arguments because I know that I can trust what he's saying is not personal and whatever I say to him isn't personal. It's about a situation, what we got in hand. But we climbed Kilimanjaro and we were climbing 14 hours a day and we had a lot of time where we talked. I more than likely learned a heck of a lot about my wife in them walks, 14 hours a day, and my best mate, what I'd known for 24 years, longer than my wife in that period of time. But the relationship, I mean, we're talking about relationships and different things. We're talking about loved ones and people who are around us. I mean, the biggest thing for me is with my child. Hudson, he's 10-year-old now. I've had a bit of a struggle with him. I used to be his football coach. I'm a UEFA B football coach. And it was very hard to know where the boundaries were of, am I your dad or I'm your coach? Yeah. And because when I'm his dad, I like to try and have a bit of fun. When I can, when my back plays up and I'm turning into the grumpy so-and-so because I'm in pain. But when I'm in football, he's got to learn that if I tell you to do something, I'm not telling you as your dad and you don't get grumpy. But he learned that quicker than what I did.
So it's adjusting relationships to different circumstances, different situations. But at the end of the day, we've talked about people, we've talked about family, we've talked about partners. What about having relationships with objects or tangible things like mobile phones? A lot of people have a relationship with a phone and sometimes too much. And we get lost sometimes with human connection. How can we reduce that? And why do people have such a relationship with phones? I know we move on with technology and I know things change and obviously change is not always comfortable with everyone, but why do people have such... I mean, I do. I can't... My laptop and my phone, and the reason why I have it, because at that particular time, it's highest on my priority value. It's highest on my priority value because I need to go on my phone and I need to go on my laptop because that's my work. So at that moment, that is my highest priority value. Not my family, doesn't mean I don't love them, not my family, not my other relationships. That moment, my relationship is with my work, and my work is through a laptop and mobile phones. Yeah. Where do you stand on that, Joss?
I agree with that because work-wise, these are the tools we use for work. But things of materialistic value, I think we can all agree, they don't mean nothing. But not everybody has that approach to it, and it takes a while to get there. And it takes where at one point we might have been souls that like designer clothes, and you bought all the very thick and river island and Zara, but then you go out of it, it takes time. And it's also reflective of finding yourself, because you find that you don't need these things, and as my dad says, man makes the clothes don't make the man. You don't actually need these in life. But at times we feel we do, like we like what we like. So I'm very open to liking what we like, and I might like a cashmere sweater. Yeah. And that's understandable. But everything in moderation and just having healthy relationships with these things and realising you don't need it, you more want it. And you might like it, but you don't need it.
I think it all comes back to what Joss said. Have a relationship with yourself first. Until you can have a relationship with yourself, how you can have a relationship with other people? You've got to love yourself. Yeah. Love yourself for what you are. Embrace yourself and be inside yourself. Yeah. Dad loves it when I get on and embrace it.
No.
But do you not agree with that though? Is it
To an extent,
And I'm not going to use my oxygen mask scenario.
No,
But
to an extent I do, but I'm a big believer of if you make the people around you happy, then you're going to be happy. And I know that I've gone through a certain part of my relationship with my wife where she could have walked out on me. When I was dealing with depression, she could have walked out. And if she'd have walked out, I couldn't have blamed her. So it was my job to turn that around and try to make her happy by changing myself. So if I'd have made myself happy, it could have been that she didn't like the new person, what I was becoming after depression. Because I think that once you have depression, you learn to deal with it for the rest of your life. You don't either have it or you don't have it.
Yeah.
You have it for life, and it's the triggers what you come up with that if you feel as though that you're going into a dark place, then you try and drag yourself out of it.
Yeah.
And yes, it's about making yourself feel happy, but the way I do it is that if I can see my wife and my son smiling again, it means that I'm doing something right, and that makes me happy.
again, but for me, that's like living in someone else's value. I know where you're coming from, because when my family are happy, I'm happy. But internally, am I really happy? Is it because I've done something that I don't agree with just to make them happy? I think it's about coming to a middle ground. I think it's more about loving yourself than being happy yourself. If you can love yourself, the aura, the ambience around you is quite obvious with people in front of you. I'm happy, you're happy, but you're happy because I'm happy. But you know what I mean. I love myself, yeah. That sounds so egotistical, but it's not. It's about loving yourself.
Is that not narcissism?
Yeah, it's about loving yourself, about being comfortable in your own body.
So even with that, the better I can love myself, the more I can love you lot. So when you've learned to love yourself in an extremely healthy manner, everything you cultivate and put out is going to be 10, 10, 10. So like no matter, like the energy that I'm going to give Dad is always going to be 100 because I'm giving myself 100. So like, and if I'm only giving Dad 100 but not giving myself 100, at some point I'm going to be without, and I'm going to be.
I understand that.
A little bit drained, and I'm going to be pushing forward, trying to pull myself up, but you're going to end up cutting off your nose to spite your face. And it's like, you're going to have to then come back and find the balance. But that's the beauty of life, and that's the beauty of being humans and being able to do that, because we're able to realise that and step back and say, you know what, I'm going to do this for myself today. I'm going to put my wife and my son's duties, I'm going to do them, but I'm doing this for me because this is what I want to do. Then you're going to do even more for them because it's balanced, and I feel better than I did last week when I did it. And it's those little realisations, and I call them tools. They're like self-help tools for yourself. There's little, like, the biggest moment that Dad has for himself that I've realised that you love doing is your drive to London.
Yeah.
That feels like Dad's cup. That's Dad's secret weapon.
And that's not because I'm driving away from my wife and son.
Yeah. It's
You took the words out of my mouth.
It's that silence and that time alone where he might now realise that that's even more important to me than he thought it was when it's important to you. But it might sit with you even more now because you're realising, I need that. I really need those moments, and I love those moments, and those moments make me able to do anything else. And say you started getting the tube to work, you might be a different man. Because that little time that you'll give yourself, and that moment that you have on the way by yourself, with no music, no interruption, it might just alter your energy. So you give the best still, but it's not the 10, it's the 9.5 now, because he gets that 10 from doing that.
I think I'm quite lucky because I've got my wife who I bounce off, and I love her to bits. And I've got my son he's the biggest joker in the world. I mean, he makes me, and I keep on saying I'm the Jack D of the house because I don't smile, but inside I am really laughing. My boy makes me laugh every day without fail. But I've also got my mate who grounds me, and we can have conversations where, like I say, we can talk about. I more than likely wouldn't have these conversations in front of other people, but we're comfortable about talking about whatever subject.
Well, this is a relationship, right? When you have relationships in work, sometimes, and I call it flying the flag, sometimes, and again, it's a bit of a contradiction because I said you shouldn't live up to anyone else's values, but sometimes flying the flag or doing what you've got to do to maintain a good relationship, I think that's okay. I think that's respect. Sometimes it is. but it doesn't mean that you've got to live up to someone else's values all the time.
But you're learning the audience what you're with.
Exactly that. Exactly that. Never put anyone on a pedestal. Never put anyone in a pit. I don't think you should.
I always start out the way I always do things, and this is the more than likely the military what try to instill this in everyone is that you give someone 100% respect as soon as you meet them. You might never know them, give them 100% respect, but it's the things what they do what chip away at that 100%. Now, if they get below a certain percentage, and this is down to the individual, then you start to go, hold on, do I like this person for what they are? But they can change. So the things what they're doing, actually that respect can be grown back up because they're coming around and they're possibly feeling you. They're actually coming around to your way, the way what you live your life, or the way what you see the life or see the world. And then you have that bond where actually, you can say anything to me and I can say anything to you, and that respect is mutual.
Yeah. And it's even saying that that's why sometimes, even relationships, and they break apart and you fall out, that's why sometimes you walk away when you still have so much respect for them, rather than have a big argument and making it worse and then resent them. So that way you still have that same respect for them that it came with, and I can always hold you in the same light. Because you know that, like you said, I can end up doing stuff towards my ex-partner that I end up chipping away. It becomes 95%, 80%. It gets to a stage where I now feel like I hate them, and then I know I have to deal with getting over them, because hate is like me not liking someone or disliking someone. I now have to deal with that and overcome that to even move on into anything else.
I always say that hate is a very strong word.
So
there's not many things in life you should hate.
That's it.
You can dislike things, but to hate them is ridiculous.
So,
sorry,
let me just land. If I just get to actually keep you in the same light and we fall out gracefully, it's not always possible, but if you try to just fall out with people in a way where there's no major arguments, you can have them in the same light, leave them to their own doings, and you've still got respect for them, and you don't have to cultivate any kind of bad vibes or bad energies for yourself towards them. It's easier said than done, but it's possible.
These relationships, right? Like myself, I'm a human behavioural specialist, and I have clients. And yes, building a rapport is important in my role, but we have to be boundaried. When it's a work relationship, I think boundaries are very important. Okay, so even with your work, there has to be boundaries.
Yes.
Because our work, is important. Having been well boundaried. Yes, I do have good relationships with, but I'm not there to have a relationship with my clients. I'm there to try and help them be empowered. I'm there to try and help them through whatever they want to help with.
Yes.
So there's a professional relationship there, not like I have with my missus, not like I have with my children, not like I have with you guys. Even though this is a professional setting, but we have a different kind of bond. Bonding and relationships, I think, go together. But never live to someone else's expectations.
Yeah.
We've spoken about, we've never lived to someone else's expectations, and don't expect them to live to your expectations.
Definitely don't.
Look, thank you very much, guys. This has been such a great talk, and it's important to have good relationships, but you've got to be comfortable within your own self. It's important to be happy, but be happy with yourself, love yourself, and love others as well. Thank you very much, guys. This has been a great conversation. Guys, this has been Men's Talk, and we've been talking about relationships. It's been fascinating. Thanks, Joss. Thanks, Daz. I'm Saf. See you next time.